2, 1.
Hello today, and welcome to Trelka's Way. And of course, those of you who are regular listeners, you know that means that our Waterloo Chief is in the studio here. We're coming to you live. And we want you to stay with us. And if you have some input for today, please call us here, 234-1441. This is just another opportunity for you to talk to our police chief. He does have an open door policy. There'll be a number we'll be giving for that. And he has brought guests with him today, so we really have a privilege here to talk to some additional people and see what goes on. Okay, I'm giving some instructions here. In other departments of the city, and of course there's been so much change made under Chief Trelka. Knows are working well, but we'll have him tell us again about what he thinks about them. I guess I don't know whether it was an experiment or not, but it certainly is.
I think it was. Life is our laboratory, isn't it?
Yes, it is, for sure. Chief, I'm going with you and go right around the table.
Okay, I have investigator Jeremy Pohl with us today. He's our computer expert, computer forensic, computer analysis. That is a partnership we established with the state. The state came to us and they said, listen, we'd like to, is one of your employees interested in engaging in this endeavor? They said, we will give them all the training they need if you supply the equipment. And we did get some equipment through a Blackhawk County gaming grant and other sources. The state gave us some training for Jeremy, so we brought him today to talk about his duties. And we also have Erica Christensen, who's on the clerical staff at our fire department. And I think Erica has been with us now probably 8 months.
Yeah, since February.
Okay.
That's about 8, right?
Okay, I remember we hired her in the winter, but I can't remember the month. And Erica's husband is also in law enforcement. Those are the two guests we brought because we want to mix it up, show some variety, and
Absolutely.
see what's going on out there.
Okay, so your husband is a...
Blackhawk County deputy. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And you're Tony Thomas, huh?
Yeah, Tom Thompson.
Well, where shall we start? Because it sounds like to me there's a lot to be talked about. And I know that one serious notion that we want, not a notion, but a serious conversation that we've been hearing, Chief.
Yes.
With people keep saying, what can we do about the murders? What can we do about the violence? What can we do, you know? And then it's like you wring your hands, you know, you pray a lot, you wish a lot, you hope a lot, because most of this, a lot of this involves young people who have ruined their lives by probably never getting out of prison again, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that still leaves parents who are almost afraid to close their eyes at night for where are their kids, you know. You think they're in the bed and you go and look and they're not there. And these are young kids. I can't even imagine being out on the street, you know, at the time of night that some of these things happen, and in the daytime too. So, Chief?
Yeah, we're seeing far too many young men carrying weapons. And it almost seems like it's become trendy or fashionable for some of these young men to carry weapons.
Okay.
Last year we took about 120 weapons off the street in Waterloo. Now there are, everybody knows that as long as people follow the rules, follow the laws, go ahead and carry your weapon. If you have a permit, carry your pistol. That's a personal decision. But we're seeing far too many young men, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, that are carrying pistols, loaded pistols. And when we come across these people and seize these weapons, what we're finding is these weapons have been stolen generally in burglaries from throughout the community, Evansdale, Cedar Falls, Waterloo, wherever. And it's very alarming, it's very concerning because some of these young men are so quick to use that weapon. And that's where we're ending up with far too many shootings. Like I said, last year we seized 120 weapons. This year I believe we're up to almost 70 weapons that we've taken off the street that people have been carrying illegally, that have been stolen, or have been used in a crime. And somehow, some way we need to get a handle on it. I know when I first came on the show, the one thing I talked about is if one of your friends, if one of your relatives starts to fall, you got to catch them. You got to have an impression upon them. If you know a young man in this community that's carrying a gun, somehow, some way, you got to impress upon them to stop it, knock it off. Because once we get involved, they get arrested, they get prosecuted, and there's this blemish on their record for a foolish act. I mean, it's pretty sad when I hear of a young man who's 16 years old who gets caught carrying a weapon, and he's already a convicted felon, so he faces the additional charge of a felon in possession of a firearm. People need to, if you see somebody falling, catch them before we get involved.
Could you tell us, well, let's go over here next, Jeremy, and let him introduce himself and tell us what he's all about.
Jeremy Pohl. I've been with the department since 1998. I've served in investigations and all patrol watches. Currently with the investigation unit as forensic computer analysis. Sounds fancy, but I take computers in, generally computers, and analyze the hard drive, mostly for evidence recovery of illegal acts. My basis our partnership with the states for child exploitation, the internet crimes against children. But I'm also branching out into other media types for the new notebooks and the cellular phones. Electronics is ever evolving and hard to keep up with, and being used a lot more for fraudulent purposes, false pretenses, and a lot of that information stored there. So we hope that we can use that.
Okay, are you far enough along that you're actually starting to use this, or are you still, is it ongoing training, or have you had a case where you used it for something?
My training has started last May, and then I was permanently assigned this January. So since January, I've been using that training, learning more training, and I've got usually 7-8 cases on tap that I'm working with. The difference in my type of case is it's not something where I get in one day and I can turn it out the next. There's a lot of analysis, there's a lot of digging through, depending on how the data is stored and what type of media it is, where I may be digging through deleted files and stuff like that. So it's not always just on top where we can find it. It's not the drug stop where you stop and find it with drugs, you prosecute and you're done and you move on to the next. My cases usually last a little longer.
And with technology today, a cornucopia of evidence can be taken from computers and cell phones and stuff.
Yes.
And we're all seeing how we're all communicated in this day and age. We've come to rely upon computers so much, and our cell phones. So,
and today's computers are in your pocket. They're the cell phones. A lot of people are going away from having the home computers that you think of when you're thinking of a computer.
If you were going to give a recommendation, I get really concerned when I find out that in my own family, because there's children involved, no landline, no telephone in the home, So I just think that is not a safety feature, especially if you have children or if there are elderly people in the house, and there's no way for them to be in touch with anybody. And the rest of the family's gone, and they took the phone with them, and that kind of thing. Really, I think opens up, our thoughts on people just don't want to be bothered with the landline. They don't want to pay for it. They can get everything in the cell phone that they need, but there are still other things I think that need to be considered.
Well, and if you have parents that are monitoring, the kids are getting younger and younger with cell phones now,
Yes.
and the cell phones have capabilities to chat with on the internet. They have cameras on the phones, and the younger you are, the more easily led you are, or that you could be. So you've got to really monitor. I know some parents that cell phones, when they come home, a certain time of night, are handed over and handed back during the day. That way they're able to have them, but they can also still monitor.
Yeah, it's amazing. Technology has been so good for society, so good for everybody, but the sad part is it's also some evil things have come about because of technology. Child pornography 20 years ago was still out there, but it was difficult to come by. With the internet, it's
right
exploded. Sadly, it's exploded.
There are, I don't know, as parents who ask, all the time we hear these different comments about what can we do about our children. And I think that because we don't know what to do, you get so frustrated. There are parents out there who want the best for their kids and don't want them, out there getting arrested for things that they shouldn't be involved in. And in many cases, it's a burden on families. I wish I had a way of finding out how many grandparents there are that are taking care of children
Yeah, and
teenagers.
That's sad.
And And they just practically, if they are of that ilk, they will do what they want, when they want, how they want. What's grandma gonna do? Nothing.
Yeah, and we see far too much of that.
Absolutely.
And we've talked about it before, Lou.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
have.
sadly, if we build a good foundation in that child's life, hopefully it'll stick, it'll be strong. But we need to realize that kids are going to make mistakes, and we need to love them nonetheless, all the same.
Nonetheless.
But that foundation should be being built by the parents, not the grandparents. But sadly, we've talked about this, there's an absentee parent because of circumstances in life where somebody's in jail, or somebody just takes off, or somebody dies. And when both parents are gone under those circumstances, these children are being raised by other children, or grandpa and grandma, and that's sad. We're supposed to be enjoying our golden years.
Yes.
So how do we...
That's not happening for a lot of us, though.
And I'm always pushing mentoring when I talk to religious organizations and civic groups. If one person, if one adult can just mentor one child and make a difference in that child's work, maybe that's how we can help maintain and keep that strong foundation. And that's what I find encouraging in this community. I'm coming across so many people that are involved and truly want to make a difference. And we're seeing a wave of good things happening in Waterloo. You can feel it, you can see it, you can hear it. Bad things are still going on. We're still having the shootings, we're still having the burglaries, we're still having the homicides. But slowly, the wave is building. And I want to encourage people, I don't want them to give up. Just keep pushing forward. Don't look back.
Okay, we're going over here now to Erica Christensen. Hello, Erica.
Hi.
Tell us what you're up to these days.
Well, I just got hired on in February for Waterloo Fire and Rescue as a medical service specialist, I believe is my proper title. My 5-year-old says that basically what I do is go to work and talk on the phones and do firefighters' homework.
Oh my goodness.
I work in the EMT department. I'm their secretary, so anything that they need, I try to take care of, whether it's paying your bill for the fire department or for helping the EMT guys with a report that they have. So,
Okay. Is that a new position to you?
It's, no, it was, Erica replaced a young lady that had left, and, you know, we brought her on board. She looked like the ideal candidate, and she's doing a fantastic job for us at the fire department. I believe she moved here from Texas.
yeah,
Wow.
about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, Beaumont,
Okay.
Texas.
She doesn't sound like, and I asked her about that. I said, wait a minute, you don't sound...
No.
I was at a conference last week, and somebody asked me if I was Australian. What, this Wisconsin accent sounds Australian? I've been mistaken for Canadians before.
Okay, but.
And I'm not the one with the accent, it's all of you people here in
no
Waterloo.
accent, my goodness.
You have to blend in whenever you're from here. Whenever I first moved here, I got made fun of for saying y'all and icebox and buggies. So.
Okay, that's perfectly all right. Chief, you talked about the ongoing concern for the gun situation, and we talked before about how easy it is to get a gun. That's kind of frightening.
It is, and the thing I've said before is if you do own a gun, keep it properly secured. Don't throw it under the seat in your car, or don't have some cheap, flimsy gun cabinet at your house. Get a gun safe that you can lock and it's secured to the wall, because I'm amazed how easily somebody can break into a house, be in the house for 2 or 3 minutes, grab a couple rifles, grab a pistol, and be gone.
Yeah.
Because, well, we just had a case, a shooting on Cutler, where one guy got upset at another guy, and as the guy's pulling away, he fires a shotgun at him, and we recovered several weapons in that one. Is that correct, Jerry and Jeremy? And every single one of those weapons was stolen in a burglary.